Hello everyone, and welcome to another Company Heroes 2 replay cast. My name is ATR, and today we're gonna have ourselves yet another 1v1 on Angoville. Our heroes this time around are going to be Mr. PSG RedxWings, playing as the Soviets in the blue, and his opponent is going to be Mr. Cruzz, playing as the OKW forces in the red. So, same setup as we saw the last time, but different players this time around. So again, this is from the Operation Charlie Fox tournament, round 6, best of 3 this time between RedxWings and Mr. Cruzz. Should be, again, one hell of a series. And yeah, not much else less to say. Let's see what has been going on. Mr. RedxWings went straight for Tier 1, got himself a second Combat Engineer squad, and then went for the Penal Battalion, then straight up following it up with a Scout Car. So no conscripts so far. Thus spend a little bit of time laying down some wire, not even covering or capturing this point, making sure that this house is a little bit more difficult to access. Obviously, you can still run in this direction and get in, but, you know, around over here you can't go in for the steal. Far left-hand side, we see Combat Engineers engaging against Volks, as Cruzz has gone for Volks. Nothing but Volks, and we'll see what he follows up with. Scout Car is now on the field for Mr. RedxWings. Those Volks Grenadiers are in a lot of trouble, as they don't really have much that they can do against it. Obviously, they can upgrade it Shreks, but that is not going to be happening anytime soon. So, yeah, it's easy to say that they're in bad shape. Penal Battalions and Combat Engineers can both get upgraded with the Flamethrower. We'll see which one gets the package, but for now, the Scout Car is still a big threat, as the Volks Grenadiers, like I said, can't really do much against it, so we'll see what he ends up doing. Right-hand side, we do hear the Penal Battalion engaging against Volks Grenadiers. Volks Grenadiers are going to lose at close range, as they were also setting down a sandbag, but with the help of the Storm Pios closing the distance and getting right on top of that Penal Battalion, they will win the engagement, and the Volks Grenadiers will remain on the field. Penal Battalion forced to retreat, and nearby we do have the Combat Engineers hold up in some heavy cover by that wrecked truck, but for now, it is unfortunate. Sweepers getting upgraded on that Combat Engineer squad for RedxWings, expecting some type of hazards on the field. Mines and such. I guess he actually spotted this mine getting laid down. Combat Engineer is going to push forward, but the Storm Pios will riddle them dead. Down to one man, forcing the retreat. Could even lose the squad, but it looks like it's going to stay alive. Shoe Mine did get revealed, but it is not cleared so far, so the Penal Battalions and the Scout Car are in danger of hitting it. However, I mean, I'm assuming RedxWings noticed that it was there. Penal Battalion moving in its direction very close to the mine. Could potentially kill itself. No, we see RedxWings reshifting the position of the squad, making sure that he doesn't hit it. Volks Grenadiers over on the left-hand side, getting shot at by the 30 cal machine gun on the back of the Scout Car. Turns itself around and is going to shoot now with the 50 cal on top. Volks Grenadiers will lose, but they'll probably stay there a little bit. Combat Engineers down to one man on the far left-hand side. Still staying on the field. Very risky there for Mr. RedxWings, as there is a Volks Grenadier squad coming down on top of it. Could potentially lose that squad, as back at base we see the Penals and the other Combat Engineer squad healing up. Far left-hand side, fuel point. The Combat Engineer squad did go down, as we said it would. It did not make a liar out of me. And the sandbag over here on the right-hand side, fuel point, did not get finished, as it was only started to be placed before the engagement went on. So back at base, nothing so far for Mr. Cruzz. He does have that supply half-track currently moving back to the base, so I'm assuming he's going to be building something. Holds it right there. Well, so far he has a Rocket and Warfare on the field, expecting to utilize that to kill the Soviet Scout Car. No Flamethrower upgrades just yet for Mr. RedxWings. It's an interesting choice if he went for the Scout Car, no Flamethrowers, even though it's still okay, but, you know, usually you see those go hand in hand, right? I guess they're not as great now with the changes, maybe, so. Penal Battalions pushing over on the left-hand side to the strategic point, running into a wall of infantry. Storm Pios and Volks Grenadiers alike. Second Penal Battalion does move into support, gets itself into some heavy cover, but it's now essentially surrounded by infantry, so it will lose the engagement. The heavy cover will prolong it a little bit, but they're not going to win at all. Storm Pios is going to be closing the distance, getting on top of them, and going to be quickly forcing the retreat, and away it goes. Volks Grenadiers do have access, or will have access to the incendiary grenade once the battle group headquarters is finished, which is currently being built for Cruzz. Right-hand side, Penal Battalion does win an engagement as the Volks Grenadier squad is forced to retreat. And back at base, we do see medics getting research for RedxWings, as he probably wants to, well, have medics. Combat engineers getting that scout car prepared. Peanut Battalion coming up for a flank, getting right on top of that strategic point, cutting off territory, although not really. You can see right there is a small little gap, kind of a gooch, and it connects the left-hand side resources with the right-hand side territory and still providing supply train. Peanut Battalion forced to retreat as it is surrounded by Volks. There are 4 Volks on the field and 3 of them were on top of it. And the combat engineers on the left-hand side are going to be pushing to try to get some more territory. Scout car moving all the way into the base. Going to be, I suppose, scouting, as its namesake says. Seeing if it can spot anything. Volks Grenadiers are getting upgraded with a Shrek, so they could potentially kill off this scout car if it doesn't get out of there quickly enough, or it, feels a little bit too brave. Shrek is going to be popping right now. Can it get a shot off on the scout car? It can, and it will. Can it kill it off? Yes, it can, and down goes the scout car for RedxWings, and cruzz just picking up more and more wins, essentially. Got himself a nice kill on a combat engineer squad, and then gets himself the kill on the scout car, while he himself has not really suffered any loss. Incendiary grenade does fly into the barn there. Combat engineer squad with the sweeper is forced to retreat. Did it clear the mine on the right-hand side? Yes, it did. He was well aware of it and clears it like that. And for cruzz, we see the Doctrine selection, and that is the Scavenge Doctrine coming into play, as he also pops a Jaeger light infantry squad, seemingly wanting to... Oh no, not even wanting to. He did. There it is. Dead right there. The combat engineer squad goes down on the retreat to the Jaeger light infantry. A little bit of a snipey play there, and manages to pick up the kill on the squad. Very nice move there for cruzz. Not entirely sure if that merits, an entire Doctrine selection, but if he was already planning on that one, then I suppose it's just a great usage of it, right? Back at the scout car. The Jaeger light infantry are trying to salvage it. We do have penal battalions nearby with their flamethrowers already upgraded, but they're not in range to interfere, so they will be able to pop the truck and get some resources. Left-hand side, penal battalion engaging against Volksgrens and Raketenwerfer. And the Raketenwerfer makes it out of there. Well, gets itself out of there because it's not actually retreating. Jaeger light infantry going to be moving to the left-hand side to engage the penals. At close range, they're not going to do that great, but they're still going to be okay. They're going to do a decent amount of damage with their G43s. Shots continue to fly, down to 3 men on that penal battalion, so the Jaeger light infantry, they actually survived quite effectively. Down to 2 men on that squad. Second squad of the Jaeger light infantry is coming up to support, and they will be doing a lot of massive damage here. RedxWings deciding to bolster his numbers with conscripts now. Conscripts can, of course, always merge and be utilized in that fashion. We'll see if that actually is what he utilizes it for, or just simply doesn't want to spend manpower in those guys. I mean, how much of a difference is it? 270 versus 240, so 30 less manpower, so maybe. Jaeger light infantry over on the left-hand side going to be executing on the retreat. That penal battalion, I don't think it's going to make it out of there. But it seems like I'm wrong. It actually runs and makes it out of there. Wow. Combat engineer squad getting in the way, managing to distract the Jaeger light infantry a little bit. Now taking the brunt of the damage, down to 2 men. Could get itself killed if it doesn't retreat now. Down to 1 man. It's retreat, and it should make it out of there because it's a healthy 1 man. Penal battalion popping into the house, going to get some good shots on the Raketenwerfer. Raketenwerfer forced to retreat. Will make it out of there just fine. Combat engineers going for the fuel, currently surrounded by storm piles and Volksgrens. Gonna have to retreat. Oh, they retreat themselves straight into the mine, hit it, and explode. So down goes a combat engineer squad for Mr. RedxWings, and cruzz once again just picking up kill after kill after kill. So RedxWings is in a deficit now. He needs to well, figure out a way of stabilizing. I mean, he is building tier 3 back at base, so that'll help out. Maybe we can see the masterful use that we've seen in the past of RedxWings of those Su-76s, and that'll swing the game back in his favor, but for now, he's losing the game. Victory points, though, he is in the lead, but, it's not necessarily always about the victory points, even though in the last game we saw it was about victory points. But yeah, it's 492 for RedxWings and 381 for cruzz, so 100-point difference there. Penal Battalion getting incendiary-nated in the face, forced to retreat down to 3 men. The conscripts are currently back at base. I'm assuming they merged with something, and that's why there's less of them. Nope. Because they just took some damage. Jaeger Light Infantry doing excellent work here against the Penal Battalions. Their flamethrowers not really able to do too much here as the Penal Battalion is forced to retreat. Jaeger Light Infantry taking some pot shots at them as they retreat, but the squad will make it out of there alive. Penal Battalion on the right-hand side not managing to do too much against the Volksgrenadiers. And we now see a Jagdpanzer coming onto the field for Mr. Cruz. Anticipating some type of vehicle play, which, you know, is, or should be pretty accurate considering the Tier 3. I mean, I suppose RedxWings could continue to stall and go for Tier 4. We now see Doctrine selection for Mr. RedxWings, and that is the Soviet Reserve Army popping his PPSHs on the conscripts, doing a decent amount of damage. And Cruz says this is not guard motor meta. So, you wish, says RedxWings. Yeah, I mean, I guess because of the PPSHs, but a little bit of banter there. Very nice. Penal Battalion going to be popping into the house. Storm Pyro is going to be out in the open, taking a lot of damage there to the Penal Battalion's SVT rifles. Conscripts on the right-hand side with their PPSHs. And we see a partisan squad. Is it Tank Hunters? Yeah, Tank Hunters coming out of that, something. Oh, hopping into the house up in the north. See if they can actually spot anything. Maybe RedxWings was anticipating some building around here. One of the supply half-tracks. But nothing really comes of it. We do have a Jagdpanzer on the field, but that's not really going to take any damage if it doesn't move into range. So, for now, at least it gives RedxWings some type of anti-tank. Because he doesn't even have access to AT guns, because he didn't tech to Tier 2. Penal Battalions on the left-hand side, pushing aggressively with their flamethrowers. Volksgrenadiers trying to hold the line, managing to do a good job against one of the Penal Battalions, down to 1 man, forced to retreat. Second squad is still there. Flamethrower bursts continue to go off, and the Volksgrenadiers are sitting out in the open, which the flamethrowers don't do extra damage against. Still, though, they can easily die to it, and of course, there's still 4 other rifles on that squad shooting at you. And the Volksgrenadiers end up retreating down to 2 men, wanting to keep themselves alive. Back over here on the southern side of the map, conscripts not able to withstand against the Storm Pyros with their own PPSHs. These guys have assault rifles, so, you know, far superior, even at the closest of range. And the Penal Battalion moves out of the point accidentally and going to have to reshift. Left-hand side, Penal Battalion going to be going for the fuel point, as behind it we have Combat Engineer Squad going for something. And back at base, no, not there. Back at base, we see Su-76 getting built for RedxWings. We've seen grandiose and magnificent things being done by RedxWings with the Su-76s, so he may be able to do some heavy damage here. We do see a Flak Panzer on the field for Mr. Cruz, calling it from the Doctrine. That'll do a lot of damage to all this infantry. I mean, there is, of course, that Tank Hunter and the conscripts, but I don't think the conscripts are going to have AT grenades. No, they don't. And something tells me they're not even going to get upgraded, considering there's only 1 conscript squad on the field. So this Flak Panzer Ostwind has quite a bit of tolerance, quite a bit of an easy time here to be able to do a lot of damage. Does get double Shrek there by that partisan squad. Takes a little bit of damage, but it's now going to chase it down as it tries to retreat. Su-76 gets brought up, going to be getting some good shots there on the Flak Panzer. Also been taking some damage, but the Su-76 is not going to be enough to take it off by itself unless it just sits there and takes the damage. And, of course, with the Jagdpanzer now behind it, the Su-76 is probably going to get itself killed. There's a Raketenwerfer and Shreks on the field, so it makes it very, very difficult for that Su-76 to really do much effectively. Conscript squad pushing forward, getting itself right on top of those Volksgrenadiers. Their SMGs doing a lot of damage at close range. And the Volksgrenadier squad is just getting shredded there. Flak Panzer, however, is still there, so it manages to fend off those conscripts, keeping the squad alive and on the field. Su-76 throwing a barrage, trying to hit the Volksgrenadier squad. Almost manages to nail it, but we do see, oh, very nice. A mine gets hit there by the Jagdpanzer, criticaling the engine. The engine has been brought down to its needs is heavy engine damage. It's not a destroyed engine, so it can actually still move a little bit. But now with the Su-76 and the Partisans throwing some Shreks, although not effectively, they're missing. Su-76 should be able to finish the Yak Panzer. It's just shooting across the hedge, getting some good hits. Down it goes. Tank Hunters do go down, however. A little bit greedy there for RedxWings, trying to make sure that he finished off the Yak Panzer. But, you know, sacrificing a Partisan squad for a Yak Panzer, that's pretty good even trade. You want to take that trade whenever you can. So the Oswin does remain alive, so it's still going to be a big threat to the infantry. Another combat engineer squad did go down for RedxWings, but he does keep his Su-76 on the field, which is going to make it a lot more difficult for that Oswin to do a lot of damage. And if RedxWings gets another Su-76, which he tends to like to do, he can, you know, start fending off bigger targets, and those barrages, if expertly placed, can do a lot of damage to the infantry. Penal Battalion on the right-hand side, capturing some territory. Gonna get assaulted here by Volksgrenadiers and even the Raketenwerfer. Flamethrower getting brought up to do damage inside the house. The Volksgrenadiers pop out, as they would have gotten instantly cooked there by the Flamethrowers. Out in the open, the Penal Battalion taking some damage to the Volksgrenadiers, but the Volksgrenadiers are just getting shredded there by the SMGs. Down to one man. Can the conscripts pick up the kill? They're gonna Ura forward, get around the house. Can they pick up the kill on the guy? Yes, they can. A nice pickup there for RedxWings, finally throwing it in his way. Of course, he did kill the Yak Panzer, but you know, getting some infantry kills. Conscript squad does sit in the open, however, and it's going to get itself killed. Can it make it out of there? Oh, barely manages to make it out of there. Penal Battalion retreating as well, down to 2 men. The Oswin is going to go for the hunt. Can the Su-76 stop them? Well, takes a shot at the Oswin. The Oswin takes a shot and once again misses. Getting shot once again by the Su-76. Very close call there for RedxWings, getting a little bit maybe too greedy. Tank Hunters do pop out of the house, getting some good shots there on the Flak Panzer. The Raketenwerfer is pushing forward, going to be able to keep that Su-76 at bay, even a Shrek coming up on the side of it. So the Su-76 needs to retreat and just disengage. And the Tank Hunters are currently retreating up from the north, as they took some damage. Shrek managing to do a decent amount of damage there to that Su-76, going to force them to back off. And while RedxWings is, you know, putting the hurt, getting some good hits in there, he is losing a lot of territory. Left-hand side, combat engineers and penal battalions capturing some territory as the Su-76 is brought all the way back to the base. Doesn't have, doesn't have anything out on the field to support, but the penal battalion and the conscripts has been fully healed up, fully reinforced, and is now moving back out onto the field with the Su-76 nearby for support. Does need some heals, though. Combat engineers probably need to head back. Oh, sorry. Wow. I had to drink a little bit of water there. I was starting to choke on myself. Anyways, we did see the Su-76 throw a barrage here into the strategic point, but the Volksgrenadiers moved out of the way and didn't really take any damage. Penal Battalion on the left-hand side getting engaged by 3 Volksgrenadier squads at the same time. Even though 2 of them have Shreks, those are a lot of rifles staring at them, so they need to retreat. It is a Veterancy 3 Penal Battalion, although most of them are. There's only one that's Veterancy 2. But, you know, you want to make sure you keep that Veterancy because the Volksgrenadiers are also getting a lot of Veterancy. Combat engineers on the far left-hand side, not capturing the point, kind of wanting to hide themselves in the battlefield. Penal Battalion moving up right in front, or in the middle of all those Volksgrenadiers, trying to focus fire on one of them, doing a decent amount of damage to one, bringing it down to 3, but the Penal Battalion itself down to 2 men, forced to retreat. Right-hand side, we hear the Oswin taking some shots as the second Oswin gets brought onto the field for Mr. Cruzz. With 2 Oswins, he should be able to pick up a lot of kills on the infantry, getting them potentially knocked out. Tank Hunters getting a good AT grenade going off on that Flak Panzer, getting that damage on the engine, cloaking themselves as they move over to the right-hand side, trying to get a shot off on that Flak Panzer. Tank Hunters popping out of the house. They're going to pop back in. No, they're going to move to try to intercept. Can they get the killing blow on that Oswin? There goes the shot. There goes the killing blow. A nice pickup there for Mr. RedxWings. Second Tank Hunter squad moving out of the way, retreating down to 1 man. We do still have that Oswin sitting in the center of the map. And Tank Hunters up in the north. We hear an artillery barrage almost point blank here against the Storm Pios. The Su-76 going for the crush, gets 2 kills, down to 1 man on the Storm Pio squad. Can the SMGs finish it off, doing a decent amount of damage, but it's a very healthy 1 guy. Oh, it looks like he's barely going to make it out of there. The Partisans are moving into the way. Gonna see if they can pick up the kill on it. Focus fire on it. Take a shot. Oh, there goes the snipe on the one guy, and down goes the Storm Pilot squad for Mr. Cruz, starting to lose some members. He even loses something else to a mine or something. I saw something died there. Whatever, doesn't matter. In these long games, I don't think I'm going to do those picture-in-pictures. I don't have the time right now, sorry. Anyways, combat engineers on the left-hand side, finally sneaking around, capturing the munitions, trying to go for the victory point, but a Volksgrenadier squad nearby stops it. Right-hand side, conscripts retreating as Volksgrens and Jaeger Light Infantry continue to push forward. We do have 2 Rocket Warfers on the field, currently slow crawling through the center. The SU-76 all the way back at base has taken some damage, but it has veterancy 2 acquired. And it'll be interesting to see if RedxWings decide to go for anything heavier, you know, maybe tier 4 and go for some T-34s, because he doesn't have access to any Collins from his Doctrine. So it's a weird thing. SU-76 throwing some barrages into the strategic point, trying to see if he can hit anything, but only manages to collapse the shack here and break the wall a little bit more. Left-hand side, we see a big push here by all the infantry. The Penal Battalion not going for the victory point, just sitting there in front of it, staring at it, contemplating it, looking at it. Kind of creepily, you know. Anyways, Penal Battalion on the right-hand side retreating as Volksgrens and Jaeger Light Infantry prove too much for it. Conscripts pushing forward, going to recover that strategic point, as the victory point is currently in possession for RedxWings. 433 to 309, still leading by 100 points. 130, pretty much. A little bit less. But, you know, it's good. It's good to have that lead. Gives him a little bit of tolerance in the situations where he's not currently in control. Penal Battalion's on the left-hand side, running into a Volksgrenadier squad. Volksgrenadier squad instantly retreats as he sees both flamethrowers shooting at it. Penal Battalion removes itself from the point, but it has decapped it, so at least the bleed has stopped for pretty much anybody. Conscripts on the right-hand side, rushing forward, Uraying away from the area of effect of the infiltration grenades. Getting right on top of that Volksgrenadier squad, trying to do as much damage as it can, but with the flanking Jaeger Light Infantry, RedxWings instantly retreats, does not want to take a risk and lose a squad. Rocket Warfare getting a little bit assaulted there by combat engineers. We have another one going through the center of the road, but they're cloaked, so they are able to avoid any unnecessary damage. And the Volksgrenadiers over here healing themselves up essentially, as they have veterancy 4. Is it veterancy 4 that gives them that, or veterancy 3? Veterancy 3, yeah, there you go. And they're just going to capture territory. Oh, nasty barrage there right on top of that Jaeger Light Infantry. Manages to get a good hit in there. Second shot, not hitting anything as they were already gone, but manages to keep that around. Flak Panzer on the field. Going to be moving back out. Left-hand side, we see a lot of infantry now for RedxWings, just peppered all over the place. Even a combat engineer squad going to be going back to capture that strategic point outside the base. Jaeger Light Infantry trying to capture that victory point. Conscripts going to be closing the distance with their SMGs, getting right on top of them. Conscripts do have veterancy 3 now, so they are quite dangerous. But the Jaeger Light Infantry actually manages to sit there and not take too much damage. Gets itself out of the point, however, so they're not going to be able to capture that victory point. So again, the bleed is stopped for both players. And on the left-hand side, those tank hunters just sitting, waiting. They have their hold fire orders as they want to see if they can catch the Ostwind out of position. I mean, both players doing similar things. I mean, Cruz has his cloaked Rocket Warfare, just moving back and forth through the field. Of course, he has the benefit that he can move while cloaked. But the tank hunters, they can just simply sit there in cover, cloaked, and hold their fire. They're not going to shoot at infantry, and they're going to be waiting until a vehicle pops into their sight. Penal Battalion moving over on the left-hand side, going to get itself right on top of the Volksgrenadiers. Volksgrenadiers will be recovering the point, but I mean, it doesn't really do too much. It connects this point over here, but it's just a strategic point. Volksgrenadiers now forming a firing squad here, concave on that Penal Battalion, going to be doing a lot of damage. Penal Battalion is veterancy 3, so I mean, it gets survivability and weapon accuracy, so it's a little bit tougher. Penal Battalion retreating as a second Penal Battalion gets right on top of the Rocket Warfare. There goes a nice kill there for Mr. RedxWings, claiming himself a Rocket Warfare, and the Rocket Warfare will be probably forced to retreat. Retreat it! Retreat it! Hit retreat! Get it the hell out of there. Oswin is moving forward. The tank hunters are online. Su-76 is nowhere to be seen. We do see a second Su-76 on the field for Mr. RedxWings. First Su-76, no, new Su-76 on the right-hand side. The first one is Veteran C3 now. Wow, it's Veteran C3, very nice. 6 kills only, but it has done a lot of damage, essentially. Rakuten Warfare still cloaked, moving back. The other Rakuten Warfare stolen, retreating currently back to base. Jaeger Light Infantry and Storm Pyros doing a lot of damage to that retreating conscript squad, but it should be able to make it out of there. Su-76. Oh, nice attempted barrage there. Hits right in front of the approaching infantry. Does not manage to do too much. Su-76 going to have to break the wall here as Shrek's flying in direction. Rakuten Warfare also getting brought into the mix. Su-76 does throw a barrage there into the approaching infantry, but it throws it a little bit further back. Actually, the infantry are kind of moving into it, so they are forced to push forward a little bit. And we see the combat engineers repairing. Very patient and interesting decision there by RedxWings of leaving these guys cloaked and static. They are not even moving, trying to capture points since there's nobody there. They have a mission. They are to sit there and wait until a vehicle comes into their sight and take a shot at it. They're probably going to get revealed here as we see Volksgrenadiers and Rakuten Warfare moving forward. They're going to run straight into those tank hunters. They reveal themselves and start shooting, but shots fly in their direction, getting 1 kill on one of the tank hunters. The other tank hunter squad is currently surrounded. They need to retreat or they're going to get themselves killed. Down to 2 men, down to 3 on that one. They may get out of there, so that's fine. Schwere Panther headquarters has gone down for cruzz, but nothing has come out of it. And the Ostwind back at base is currently damaged, so it needs some TLC. Make it a little all better. Su-76s moving together over on the left-hand side. Artillery barrage going off on that Volksgrenadier squad. Missing. They shift position over to the right-hand side. Double barrages, but it misses. Oh, that actually kind of hits. Volksgrenadier squad deciding, you know what? We're getting peppered all over the place. We're just gonna go ahead and get the hell out of here. Peanut Battalion moving in to intercept, but they don't manage to do too much. As the conscripts push forward, sends the Su-76s can cancel that barrage at any time. Back at base, the 152mm the howitzer getting built for RedxWings. Powerful weapon. Does it have enough range for the base? It does. It covers it all. Don't think it's going to be utilized for that, although that's also a possibility. Over on the right-hand side, we do see... booby trap on the sector. We can do that, because I thought it was only the Obersoldaten. No, it's also the Jaeger Light Infantry. Oh, didn't know that. I thought it was only an Obersoldaten ability. Anyways, conscripts on the left-hand side running into too much. Down to 1 man, forced to retreat. Su-76s moving up, and the Shreks on the Volksgrenadiers are positioned to do a decent amount of damage here. Gets a good hit on one of the Su-76s, and now they move back. Rakuten Warfare is currently cloaked and moving through the field. Right-hand side, we see tank hunters moving up on the Jaeger Light Infantry squad. Flamethrowers going off on it as well. Jaeger Light Infantry could get itself killed. Penal Battalion get on top of that Volksgrenadier squad. Combat engineers nearby, but not helping. The Ostwind is a little bit far back, not wanting to expose itself as it knows that there are tank hunters nearby. Tank hunter squads down to 2 and 3 men respectively. They get the hell out of there as the Jaeger Light Infantry squad goes down. Penal Battalion is going to be forced to retreat, and the other Penal Battalion over on the left-hand side as well forced to retreat since they did that. Rapid conscription did get popped. I think it provided this squad. Yeah. Manages to produce at least 1 squad. This cost them munitions, you know, instead of manpower. So I suppose that's kind of a nice trade-off, especially at this point in the game and the intensity of that manpower. The howitzer is now online, and we shall see what it ends up doing and shooting. Victory points 408 to 237. cruzz still in the losing end of that. RedxWings managing to inflict quite a bit of damage here. Penal Battalions on the right-hand side, forcing the retreat of that Storm Pile squad. Conscripts and the Tank Hunters pushing over to the left-hand side. These conscripts getting popped with their PPSHs. Going to be able to fight at close range. And the Su-76s moving together into the center of the map. And like I said, RedxWings is his master with these units. He was using them. He's the Su-76 hipster, right? He was using them before they were popular and using them to great effect. Since then, they got changed and they're much more effective against vehicles. They even got brought down to tier 3 and such. So, you know, all nice things for him. Conscripts and Penal Battalion trying to stop the approaching infantry. That's 2 Volks and a Jaeger light infantry against all these guys. Satchel charge just gets tossed in the way. Nice big explosion, but it doesn't actually do anything as the Volks moved out of the way. Did force the retreat of that squad, but the other 2 squads are still on the field. Tank Hunters engaging over on the left-hand side. Conscript squad is still there. Did we get another conscription, or did he purchase it? Well, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention there. Tank Hunters on the left. Oh, nice hit there by the Shrek, nailing one of the Volk Grenadiers on the retreat. But the squad makes it out of there. Another Oswin. Wait, no, that's not another Oswin. It's the same Oswin. Back on the field. And a lot of infantry currently in the front base of Cruz. The howitzer did throw a barrage. I missed it completely. I do apologize for that. Did get 4 kills, so I'm not sure where it hit. Currently looking in this direction, so either here or maybe back. Yeah, all the way back at the base. There you can see it. Yeah. Forced to retreat on some squad, then artillery into the base and got some kills. I mean, it is essentially the easiest way to do that. Ooh, nice. The combat engineers over on the right-hand side managing to remove the booby trap from the victory point. Do get themselves incendiary nated, so they're forced to retreat, only decapping the point. But they did remove the hazard there in the dangerous situation. Tank Hunters engaging close range against a lot of infantry, being supported by a Penal Battalion, but the Penal Battalion does not have a flamethrower, so it's not as great against infantry. And with an incendiary grenade getting tossed on top of it, that Tank squad goes down, and RedxWings loses one of its members. Artillery barrage getting called in around here. Eight kills so far. Looks like it's getting tossed over here, apparently. I'm missing completely, I'm sorry. Right-hand side, a big push by Cruz, even with the Oswin in tow. Conscript squads and Penal Battalion unable to do too much. We see a satchel charge getting tossed in the way. Manages to do a lot of damage to a Jaeger light infantry squad down to 1 man, but manages to move most of the other things out of the way. Su-76 is backing off, going to be crushing that arch all the way into the 33rd minute it lasted, so that's a pretty sturdy arch. And but it does force everything to back off as Cruz is aggressively pushing on the right-hand side for those victory points. 379 to 196. Currently, RedxWings holding 2 of the points, still putting the bleed on Cruz, and with the decap point in the north, he's actually bleeding 2 points per tick. So it could come up again to a victory points. It is, you know, relatively common for that to happen in tournament play because, you know, no player is going to want to quickly throw in the towel. They want to fight to the bitter end to make it to the next round. So all the infantry and the Oswin pushed back on the right-hand side. The Oswin took a little bit of damage. Left-hand side, we see some Volks Grenadiers dashing straight towards the victory point and even a strategic point to try to distract a little bit. Conscripts are nearby, but they're keeping their distance. They could actually close the distance and get on top of them, but it is a veteran C5 Volks Grenadier squad, so even with their PPSHs, they would lose at that close range. They do end up deciding to close that distance, but they're now brought down to 3 men. Those 3 men are not going to be able to do too much, but hit retreat and allow the points to be capped. Right-hand side, fuel point getting capped by that thing. Artillery barrages going all over the place, back into the base, trying to hit everything. The Su-76 is throwing barrages on the right-hand side. The Stormpile squad forced to retreat. And the conscripts and combat engineers, laying down some mines at this stage of the game. Very nice there for RedxWings. Always remembering that mines win games, and he can do a lot of damage, especially since the Stormpile isn't actually utilizing that sweeper. Oswin catching that Tank Hunter squad way out in the open there by the victory point. Gonna see if he can take it out. We do see a Stuka getting built for Mr. Cruz. Looks like he's gonna want to go assassinate that howitzer gun, but we'll see if he can actually do that. I mean, he has the 105 howitzer barrage, but he needs a lot of munitions to be able to do that, and he doesn't have the munitions. So I suppose it's easier to do that. Oh, Infantry support gun does get built. Infantry support gun able to do a lot of damage, but the Penal Battalion does take a hit, gets suppressed, but stays on the field. Gonna be recovering some territory. Penal Battalion in the front, gonna be assaulted here by the Ostwind. Shots flying from the Su-76s, trying to hit the approaching infantry. Manages to distract the approaching infantry a little bit. Penal Battalion down to one man, forced to retreat. Barely makes it out of there, and the Su-76s are just harassing all over the place. Raketen Warfare still sitting there, covering the center point. Well, center road, really. There's no point in the center. And on the right-hand side, a combat engineer squad retreats after not capturing that point. Su-76 is backing off. We hear the howitzer throwing barrages into the base. Nothing currently in the base, so bit of a waste barrage there, although the HQ has taken some heavy hits there. It's almost down to half health. It'll take a long while before it dies, and I'm sure it wouldn't really matter for Cruz. Probably not even going to let it happen, but you see. Conscripts pushing forward, getting into range of everything. Su-76s throwing their barrages in there, trying, well, their shots in there, hitting the Ostwind. Not doing too much damage to it, as they're not, you know, one-shot killers, but, you know, doing enough damage to maybe force it to rethink its life. Raketen Warfare still sitting in the center. Volksgrenadiers coming up, trying to go for the hunt of these Su-76s. They will get in range of the Su-76s, and the Raketen Warfare does get spotted. Needs to hit retreat and get the hell out of the way. Volksgrenadier squad is going to get shot here by those Su-76s. They are available to barrage. We'll see if that happens. And on the right-hand side, we see some more infantry for RedxWings capturing some territory. Penal Battalion pushing on the left-hand side. We do still have that Stuka. The Stuka has gotten 4 kills. What did it hit? Not exactly sure. Looks like it might have hit here. It's difficult to see. Difficult to see what's going on. Left-hand side, we see a satchel charge getting tossed there by that Penal Battalion, but doesn't manage to do too much. Raketen Warfare moving up very slowly, putting itself right in front of the other Raketen Warfare. Su-76 is moving up to throw their barrages on the Raketen Warfare themselves. Raketen Warfare is taking some damage, but not too much damage, as the Raketen Warfare over here is forced to retreat, putting itself a little bit too far forward. I think it was trying to spot for the Su-76 while cloaked, but it got revealed, so it, you know, rained a little bit on its parade. Conscripts and Penal Battalions getting itself right on top of that Volksgren squad. Could potentially take it out, but it's a very healthy Veteran C5 squad, so it's highly unlikely. Conscript squad deciding to abandon the point as the combat engineers get up there and relieve them. Raketen Warfare is moving forward together, but basically get themselves cut off here by the Soviet infantry. Can they make it out of there? Looks like they may be able to. Combat engineers, no, sorry, Penal Battalion and the conscripts doing as much damage as they can. They may be able to clear out this back one, but no, they don't. And even if they did, it would have dropped very close to the base, so probably not a steal. Su-76 is moving up over to the right-hand side, going to be getting some shots off on everything that they can. Barrage going off, going to actually almost hit the other Su-76 as he goes for the crush. Penal Battalion moving up, Su-76 trying to crush whatever it can, but the Penal Battalion manages to capture the point and then is forced to retreat. Second squad of Volksgrenadier squad behind them, trying to capture that victory point, as victory points has been brought down to 107 for him. Back at base, we do see still the artillery barrage continues to go on. 19 kills so far for that howitzer, doing quite a bit of work. And we do see the Mechanized Regiment headquarters has gone down for Cruz. As maybe he wants to go for the King Tiger? I don't think so. Maybe it's just for the repair potential. Volksgrenadier squad forced to retreat from the southern point, I guess. Right-hand side, southern point. Penal Battalion going to be capturing, conscripts recapturing some territory, as we see a Volksgrenadier squad going behind the lines. Su-85 on the field for RedxWings, trying to have a little bit more punch here. Su-76 is throwing a nice barrage there on that Volksgrenadier squad, hitting one of their members, but getting themselves caught way out of position here by these Shreks. One of the Su-76s will be going down here to the Ostwind. It has lost its main gun. The rear Su-76 is still there, but the Ostwind manages to finish it off. Su-85 is on the field, so he doesn't necessarily need it, but the loss of that barrage ability could be critical here for Mr. RedxWings, so we will see if he actually ends up deciding to rebuild it. Artillery barrage going off, getting a good hit there on that Volksgrenadier squad. Volksgrenadier squad does not have a Shrek. Grenades do go off on the Penal Battalion. They manage to dodge effectively. Hits landing on the Volksgrenadier squad, but not doing any damage on it. Satchel Charge getting tossed on top of it. There goes a boom. Manages to not really do much, and the Volksgrenadier squad moves out of the way. Left-hand side, Shrek still being a nuisance here. Managing to force the vehicles back in the base as the conscripts utilizing their newfound abilities to repair to help out on the repairs with the Su-85. Front of the base, Combat Engineer Squad capturing some territory as the artillery barrage continues to go on and manages to clear out a rocket and warfare back at base for Mr. Cruz. The base is down to about 30% strength, but pretty sure that's not the target of that. The target is to get more kills. I mean, 25 kills on that howitzer. It's actually done a lot of work. Stuka moving up, trying to get itself in range to throw a barrage on the howitzer, but manages to only expose itself there to the infantry and unknowingly to a cloaked rocket and warfare, so it could have easily died. Oswind is in the way, however, so it's not going to let it do much. And a second Oswind gets brought onto the field as Cruz brings up his vehicle numbers. Victory points, though, down to 37 for Mr. Cruz. Can he stabilize? Can he turn it around? It's difficult to say. Penal Battalion on the right-hand side, going for that victory point, decapping the point, and going to be switching it around, so the bleed will continue on Cruz. Cruz currently stopped at 37, while RedxWings sits comfortably at 370. Conscripts even rushing past on the Ostwind, going for the victory point, going to be trying to decap and accelerate the rate of descent here. Conscripts sitting on the point, taking a lot of punishment. They're veterans 3. They managed to decap the point and then retreat, wanting to keep themselves alive. Su-85 and Su-76 pushing up. Su-76 throwing a nice barrage on the Storm Pios, but the point on the south has been capped by the Penal Battalion, and these Volksgrenadiers are going to get themselves killed as they just sit there on the point. Down to one man. They hit retreat, but the Penal Battalion will take it out, and down it goes. Su-76 throwing some shots there as it just gets shot up, loses its main gun and sits there in the front. See the Stuka finally coming up for a barrage, getting a good hit there on the howitzer, clearing out its veterancy, but only manages to get itself damaged and crippled here by the conscripts as they also get upgraded with the AT grenade. Victory points, however, are down to 19. The southern point has been capped. The left-hand side point has been capped by Cruz, but he throws in the GG. Well played. RedxWings returning the GG. And that is it for game one. A bloody fight all over the place. Desperately trying to go for those victory points. And it looked early on that RedxWings was at a deficit, losing a lot of units, whereas Cruz was holding strong. But manages to hold strong and, well, utilizing his very, very favored Su-76s, turns it around, really. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed the game. If you have any positive or negative remarks, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you have any replays you want to send me, go ahead and send them to the email that I will put in the description. But otherwise, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.